Hey friends, welcome back to yet some more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet for more Reddit content, and let's get into today's stories. You want it fast? Fine, but don't cry when it blows up in your face. I work at a big retail chain where the stockroom is the Wild West and chaos is the norm. We recently got a new supervisor, Sarah, who seems to think she's running the Navy SEALs or something. She's obsessed with speed, constantly on us about how we need to get things done faster. Doesn't matter if it's done right, as long as it's done fast. So one day, during peak restock time when we're drowning in boxes, Sarah storms in with her clipboard and her best I'm in charge face. She corners me while I'm halfway through a massive inventory check and says, "You're taking way too long with these. Just get through them quickly, we don't have time to check every single item." I try to explain that rushing inventory checks is a bad idea, but she cuts me off with a condescending smile. "If you can't speed this up, maybe this job isn't the right fit for you," she says, all smug like she just dropped a bombshell. "Alright Sarah, you want speed? Let's see how fast things can spiral out of control." So I take her words to heart and decide to follow her instructions exactly. The next day I'm scheduled for another inventory check. Instead of my usual process where I count everything carefully, I decide to play Sarah's game. I glance at the shelves and make up numbers that seem about right. I don't even bother opening boxes to check if what's inside matches the labels. I fly through the whole process, marking items off like I'm speedrunning a video game. What usually takes me 2 hours, I finish in just 20 minutes. Sarah sees me finish up, and I can see her eyes light up. She walks over, grinning ear to ear. "See, that wasn't so hard, was it? If you keep this up, you might even get a little bonus this month," she says, patting herself on the back for her brilliant leadership skills. Fast forward a week, and the store manager Mike calls an emergency meeting. The inventory reports have come back, and they're a total disaster. According to the report, we're missing thousands of dollars worth of products. It looks like we either lost half the stock or we're running some underground black market. Mike's pissed, customers are complaining about out-of-stock items, and the regional manager is breathing down his neck. Mike turns to Sarah and asks her to explain how this could have happened. Sarah, trying to save face, immediately points at the team and says, "They must have messed up the counts. They weren't thorough enough." She's throwing us under the bus without a second thought. This is where I decide to strike. I raise my hand and say, "Actually, I did exactly what Sarah told us to do. She said to skip checking the items and just get it done as quickly as possible. I was just following orders." You could hear a pin drop. Mike slowly turns to Sarah, his expression going from confused to furious. "Is this true?" he asks, narrowing his eyes at her. Sarah's stammering now, trying to backtrack. "Well, I didn't mean to skip it entirely. I just meant to speed it up." But it's too late. The damage is done. Mike's already fuming. "So you decided to cut corners on the one thing that affects our bottom line? You do realize we have to do a full recount now because of this mess, right?" And that's exactly what happens. The next day, Sarah and a few unlucky team members spend 12 hours redoing the entire inventory check from scratch. The rest of us get to enjoy watching them sweat it out while we handle our regular duties. It's glorious. As they're counting, I make sure to walk by every so often and ask, "Need any help speeding things up? I could skip a few checks for you if that helps." The look on Sarah's face every time is pure rage mixed with embarrassment. She can't say anything because she knows I'm just doing what she asked for. By the end of it, we found thousands of dollars in discrepancies. Turns out rushing through inventory checks leaves a lot of room for errors. Who knew? The regional manager isn't happy and Sarah ends up getting a formal warning. She stops harping on us about speed after that and even tries to be extra nice whenever I'm around. Guess she realized that maybe, just maybe, some tasks shouldn't be rushed. The best part? A couple of weeks later, I get a small bonus for outstanding attention to detail in helping fix the inventory mess. Oh, the irony. Sarah couldn't even look me in the eye when I got the bonus slip. And every time she walks by me now, I just give her a friendly smile and say, "Don't worry, boss, I'm working as fast as you want." My friend wants running to be her thing and threw a fit when I ran a marathon with her. I, 38, recently signed up for a marathon a week before the race, after finding out I would need rotator cuff surgery. I haven't been able to climb, which is my first love, but I've always enjoyed running casually. I've done a few races before, one marathon without training, so I felt like I could probably do it again, and it's something that keeps me motivated and gives me a sense of accomplishment, especially as I'm preparing for an upcoming surgery. My friend was planning to run the marathon but hadn't trained until the week of. I figured we could both run really slowly together. The whole week I was trying to find a bib. I told her that I was planning to sign up too. She was fine with that until I told her I finally found a bib. She got really upset. I had posted on Facebook saying I was going to run it last minute, and she freaked out. She told me that running this marathon was her thing, and feels like I'm trying to take over something that's special to her. She said that me posting about it on Facebook would overshadow her post. I never saw it that way. I just thought we could even support each other during the run. She accused me of being a crappy friend and just said some really terrible things to me. At the run itself, I lost her at the first mile. I texted her like 5 times, called her 3 times. She ignored them all. She called me 2 hours later, and she's 3 miles behind me and tells me to stop and wait for her. At this point, I had decided to run the marathon for myself, and I'd see her at the end, so I said no. What she insists is a sign that I am a selfish and unsupportive friend. She was so mad that I was ahead of her that she quit at mile 16 and cut the course to finish with a better time than me. Which, I mean, is fine. I finished in 6:15 and was proud of myself in the end. She is insistent that running is, quote, her thing and says I'm not allowed to engage in it, which feels literally insane to me. She was originally going to help me with post-surgery stuff, but now she's decided not to, saying she feels betrayed by me doing the marathon. I don't feel like running a race should be something that belongs to one person, especially since it's something I love too. But maybe I missed something in how I approached it. I don't think OP did anything wrong at all, and I don't think they approached it in a bad way or anything like that. OP's friend is the one that seems to see this as some kind of competition between them, and she obviously is feeling insecure about it, and about her own abilities compared to OP. The way she's probably feeling about it is if a friend gets into an activity that you're passionate about and ends up outperforming you, then it is understandable that it could be a hit to your ego more or less, depending on the person. Depends on how much someone sees this kind of thing as a competition or how much they compare themselves to others. But the way she's reacting to it all is kind of just childish and over the top. I mean, she cheated the race and cut to the finish line to act as if she beat OP. And if she was doing this for the accomplishment, she just cheated herself. So where's the satisfaction in that? Karen calls the police. Her car gets towed. I'm backed into a handicap spot outside of a big box store. I had just barely put the car in park and had yet to put my handicap tag in the window, when another car pulled into the hatch mark area next to me. This middle-aged woman gets out of the car cussing me out, because now she, quote, needs to park illegally because of people like me who park in handicap spots without a tag. I let her go on for a good 30 seconds while I finished taking my hearing aids out, as they started to hurt my ears. I then opened my door and looked directly at her while I took the tag from the door and hung it on the mirror. The look of shock on this woman's face was priceless. I only wish I could have taken a picture. She walks away ranting and raving about how much of an asshole I was for letting her go on like that, telling me it's my fault. I go in the store and she's still hooting and hollering. What about now? I'm glad I don't know. I go on about my shopping, check out, and then head back out to the car. As I'm approaching, I see 2 police cars parked in front of my car, with 2 officers chatting. Thinking nothing of it, I put my bags in the trunk and close it. One of the officers asks if this is my car. Yes, is there a problem? They explained they received a call from an irate shopper who stated the person driving my car was harassing her. I started laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. They just stared at me, confused. I then had the pleasure of telling my story. They laughed as well and said that my story lines up better with what they saw on the camera, as well as what the associate at the door said. They ran my information, verified my handicap tag was valid, and said I was good to go. The officer of the police car that was in front of me never moved their car, so I couldn't leave, but I sure didn't mind. I wanted to see what happened. I watched as the lady turned white as a ghost when she came out of the doors to see her car being strapped down on the back of a tow truck. Her white then went to red as she was handed a number of citations. It turned out her car had suspended plates, her license was suspended, and the handicap tag displayed had been void for being used illegally. Side note, for those who may not know, you can only park in the designated spot when the person who was issued the tag is in the vehicle. The person need not be the driver. If you are found to be in violation of this, the tag may be suspended or revoked. She stood ground, screaming at anyone who had the misfortune of being in her vicinity. I drove out of that parking lot with a giant grin on my face. Steal my table? Enjoy paying my bill. So many years ago, I was at a popular bar in my home city during a Saturday afternoon. I was sitting at a bench table on my own, enjoying my beer and burger alone and enjoying myself. Now it gets fairly busy and sharing tables isn't uncommon. A guy and his two mates asked to sit with me while they wait for another table. As it's a sports bar, I was chilled. He and his mates sat down and I thought that was that. Next thing I know, the other table leaves, and instead of the 3 of them moving to that table, 10 of his friends arrive. He asks me to leave. I said no, as I was there to watch an international rugby game. So now I'm squashed in at this table. Let's call this Table 21 going forward. So I didn't move, and the guys kept on getting more drunk and ordered food, etc. I walked to the bar to get myself a drink, and the barman says, "Which table?" I said, "Table 21. Every time a waiter ordered for them, I would grab the waiter and say, "Did you get the XYZ drink or the ABC steak?" Which they added on, thinking it was for the table, but actually for me. The game and festivities went on for 7 hours. I had ordered 7 drinks, 3 starters, and had an extra main. For the sake of comparison, I only paid $20. The stuff I ordered was $50 on top of what I paid. Eventually, I go get my table's bill, which was the original table, and saw only my first drink and burger on it. I pay it and go home. And that's going to be it for today, friends. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So take care, and I'll see you next time.